What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my video, and I want to say happy holidays to everybody out there. Okay, this video is the absolute worst referee calls in the NFL 2021. All right, it says 20 of the absolute worst calls. It should be more, because yeah, I ain't gonna get fined by the NFL, so I can say what I want to say about these refs. I think some of these refs be either shaving points, or they know what the point spread is, or they betting themselves, and they like, okay, I bet that this team's gonna win, or this team's gonna score these amount of points. These, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you, they in on it. I'm telling you, I always said that, and some of these calls be blatantly like either missed calls or calls that you like, okay, they get in the huddle. You see one referee say one thing, then they get together and be like, yo, what did you see? Look, blah 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 blah. Then they be like, okay, there's no foul on the play. Okay, there's no foul on the play, but one person saw it. So why it took you both of y'all to get together and you convinced this dude that you didn't see anything? You know what I'm saying? I mean, both of y'all, all y'all supposed to be professionals, right? All y'all had training and everything. So why one person says, and then the other person overturns it? What kind of, you know what I'm saying? So, I'll tell you. But let's check this out and see. All right, y'all. Here we go. Boom.
Referees. Love it or hate them, they're a very important aspect of football, as a single call can determine the outcome of an entire game.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 91.
The 2021 NFL season hasn't lacked in thrilling games, action-packed drama, and
or if it's like obvious that everybody is watching.
Once again, referees have often taken center stage with some brutal calls or no calls.
Sometimes it take the player to be like, hey,
the outcomes
and then
of
they
games. Until the NFL changes some of its protocols when it comes to reviews, hello, Sky Judge, the officiating miscues simply won't end. Here are just 20 of the absolute worst officiating calls from the 2021 NFL
I'm sure
season.
My team might be on this list. It probably was on one of my games. One of my team games.
And count on the officials to make a game-changing call that greatly affected the outcome of the Kansas City Chiefs-Buffalo Bills Sunday Night Football showdown in Week 5. It was only, perhaps the most highly anticipated game of the regular season. The Bills were clinging to an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter. Facing a third-and-long situation, Josh Allen attempted a deep pass that was picked off by Rashad Fenton, seemingly bringing KC right back in the game.
Let's see what's up.
Frank Clark was penalized for roughing the passer, which was a totally ridiculous call. Buffalo would tilt the clock and put the game away with an Allen touchdown pass to Emmanuel.
Oh yeah, see, he kind of leaned into him like that.
When the postseason comes around,
so
it could very well impact whether or
when
not
you
the Chiefs
lean
end
into
up
him, put your
making
body on him.
Godwin
But if he would
gets away
just
with
knock him down,
offensive PI.
Yeah.
What more can we say?
That was all right. That was a good call.
It's almost impossible to be a defensive back in today's NFL. You get penalized for barely touching a wide receiver, and yet, far more often than not, those same wideouts are allowed to push off without being penalized. Case in point, Chris Godwin on Jordan Lewis in the Week 1 Thursday kickoff game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Dallas Cowboys. That catch would set up Ryan Succop's game-winning field goal that gave the defending champs a season-opening victory. But not without controversy. I mean, how is that not offensive pass interference?
Right.
I guess it only makes sense
That's
to
offensive
open
pass
up the
interference
season
right
with
there.
a bad call like that. Devontae Adams, uncalled headshot. You know how the NFL has put a ton of safety rules in order to protect players? Well, the least the officials ought to do is call the most obvious stuff.
That was a
especially when
shoulder.
It's a reckless, violent shot to the head, such as the
Now
one
we had a
Devontae
call.
Adams took
We had a
during
play like that, and
Sunday
then you
nighter
called it.
between his Green Bay
It was two
Packers and the
players.
San Francisco 49ers.
Hit the wide receiver on my
Packers
team.
would go on to win the game anyway,
Boom.
with Adams making several clutch plays to set up Mason Crosby's game-winning field goal. So you could say that
Here's the
Adams
thing.
got the last
In
laugh.
real
But it's
time, that
still
probably did
troubling to
seem
see
like
the
a
officials
helmet.
miss such an
But
easy
why
penalty
don't
right
they
in front of their
allow
faces.
refs
Delay
to
of
see
game much.
replays
Justin Tucker
if a
made
coach
history when he
or
kicked the
somebody
longest
has a
field goal in
problem
NFL
with the call?
history. 66 yards to be exact. To help the Baltimore
You know what I'm
Ravens
saying?
get
They're like,
past
no,
the Detroit
that's what we
Lions.
call it.
However, Tucker's record
You
setter
can't-
doesn't
you can't,
happen if not for the officials missing an obvious
you can't
delay of
challenge
game
a
penalty.
call like that.
One play before the field goal. You just cannot miss that. It's not a judgment call. It's in the rule book, for crying out loud. Darren Waller's taunting penalty.
Oh.
The NFL's new rules against taunting were
Who came up
going
with
to
the
be
taunting?
controversial and
Some
poorly
sore
received
loser?
by fans. Here's hoping the
Some
NFL
loser?
does what it did with pass interference
Get
reviews.
mad when somebody
Scrap
taunt
them
him.
after 1 year. Perhaps the worst taunting call of the 2021 season up to this point was when Darren Waller got flagged for spiking the ball out of bounds during the Raiders' Week 4 Monday night game against the Los Angeles Chargers. Come on, NFL.
Yeah, that wasn't
These
even
guys are
directly
robots.
towards the players.
Steelers' offside penalty nullifies kick 6. Trailing the Green Bay Packers by 4 points in their Week 4 tilt, the Pittsburgh Steelers special teams seemingly came up with a game-changing play at the end of the first half, as Mason Crosby's field goal attempt was blocked and returned for a touchdown. But of course, there was a flag on the play. And not for your typical illegal block in the back stuff. Rather, the Steelers were curiously flagged for offside on the play. The former NFL official and current CBS rules analyst Gene Steratore clearly explained why this should not have been a foul. That questionable call really hurt Pittsburgh's chances of coming back. As they lost 27-17, considering
the point
this
spread probably 10
call
points
that
or
could
something.
end up impacting the postseason race and seeding. Quincy Williams for roughing the passer. What's a list about bad officiating calls without several roughing the passer penalties? How on earth could the refs possibly throw a flag here on Quincy Williams for delivering a clean hit to Matt Ryan? That right there was a textbook tackle.
Right.
If you're gonna outlaw hits like that on quarterbacks, you may as well ban sacks or turn it into flag football.
What the hell?
Justin Herbert sacked? This awful call just had to come near the end of a thrilling showdown between Dak Prescott.
So far, I only saw one call that was
the Chargers
a good
trailed
call.
17-14 with 5.5 minutes to go. Facing pressure on a pivotal second and goal situation,
He should just threw the ball away for
backpedaled and threw the ball away to seemingly avoid a sack. However, the officials determined that Herbert was actually sacked on the play, even though the film says otherwise. And so, the Chargers were
If the whistle wasn't blown, he wasn't sacked.
Completion and a field goal to tie the game, as opposed to going for the
I'm
lead
telling
on
you,
third and goal.
telling you.
Dallas went on to win on a last-second
This
Greg
stuff is
Zuerlein
rigged
field goal, and the
by the
Cowboys
refs.
avoided a disastrous 0-2
Vegas.
start. How is this
You know what I'm
not
saying?
a
Some
catch?
mafias or something.
Julio Jones
Tell
made a
you.
jaw-dropping tiptoe catch in the back of the end
big
zone
money
against
in
the
this.
Seattle Seahawks in Week 2. Following league protocol, the NFL went to review the scoring play to make sure it held up. We all know the number one rule when it comes to reviewing plays is there has to be enough evidence to overturn the call. Plain and simple. But when we watch this Jones play time and time again, all we see is a clear-cut highlight reel touchdown catch.
He got that.
Yet somehow, in some way, the officials reviewed this and determined it wasn't a touchdown. So Tennessee ended up having to settle for a field goal instead of the touchdown. The good news for Titans fans was that they wound up winning in overtime. Although this call did cost Julio Jones fantasy owners. Forgetting the rulebook 101. If you go to the NFL rulebook for player conduct, you'll see that the following is a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Removal of his helmet by a player in the field of play during a celebration or demonstration or during a confrontation with a game official or any other player.
I'm telling you, man.
What do we have here?
There's the no fun league now, man.
David clearly removed his
like
helmet
the
in the
days of
field of
old.
play after dropping a would-be interception. No foul, you say? Well, that could have changed the outcome of the game, considering that the Dallas Cowboys only lost by 2 points. Dak Prescott robbed of TD. ×2. Regardless of how many total touchdowns Dak Prescott finishes with, the guy got robbed of at least 2 rushing scores that looked like clear touchdowns this season. The first one took place on Monday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 3. Dak tried sneaking it in on 4th and goal, but he was stopped short. At least according to the officials. Something similar happened to Dak when he tried sneaking it on 4th and goal against the New England Patriots in Week 6. You be the judge if he broke the plane here.
It looked like it, even though I'm not a Dallas
on the next
fan.
play,
They're
Dak
rivals
would
of
end
my
up
team.
fumbling the ball before breaking the plane. Good thing Dallas won both games, or Cowboys fans would never live down those 2 questionable rules.
He did like, did he get the ball back though?
Pass interference call. The Los Angeles Chargers managed to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs 30-24 at Arrowhead in Week 3. But not without a little bit of serendipity. On the final play of the game, Patrick Mahomes attempted a Hail Mary that fell short of the end zone. But when you take a closer look at the play, you'll see that the Chargers got away with 2 infractions. Tyreek Hill is being bear hugged, and Travis Kelce
Look at
is
that.
being tackled.
How did he
Kansas
not?
City should have had one more
How did he not
chance
see
to win
that?
the game. But of course, the
did
officials
I see
missed
that?
2 obvious penalties here.
What are they looking at?
Offensive PI
You got an official
equals
right there behind
defensive
the
PI.
quarterback
If you're gonna
looking
throw a flag
at the
here,
line.
it has to be offensive pass interference, if anything. But yeah, this is the NFL, so the refs decided to penalize the defender for being
I'm telling you,
interfered.
they should
A
have it
frustrated
where
Baker
if the
Mayfield
coach
stated post-game that the league
sees something,
should simply
he can
forward
throw
the
a flag
fine
like,
now
look,
before
and they're
blasting
like, okay, what you
officials for
see?
what was quite
I saw
simply a
number blah blah
terrible
blah, block my
performance.
blah
Give
blah.
it
You know what I'm
really
saying? And they're like,
clean.
okay, well let's check the
Forward
replay.
Progress wipes
Okay,
out
yeah.
Panthers'
You
fumble
know what I'm saying?
recovery.
But they don't want to do it like that
Panthers
because
safety Jeremy Chin
that's gonna make it
clearly
fair.
stripped
It's gonna
Dalton
make it,
Schultz of
you
the
know.
football on this play, but not according to the officials. No, they didn't rule it an incomplete pass, but rather they granted Schultz forward progress and thus wiped out a key turnover early in the first quarter.
The instant that Schultz is hit, the ball comes loose. It's not forward progress. But unfortunately for Carolina, this is not reviewable.
Boom.
Dallas would score a touchdown on that drive, and they wound up winning by 8 points. Dexter Lawrence's offside
My
penalty
team.
gives Washington another chance. The New York
Let's
Giants
see.
seemingly avoided a 0-2 start when Washington kicker Dustin Hopkins missed a game-winning 48-yard attempt on the final play. Or so we
That's why we
thought.
got rid of him.
The officials penalized Dexter Lawrence of the Giants for going offside, which gave Hopkins a second chance to win. He made good on the 43-yarder to give Washington their
that
first
play.
win of the
I
season while
I
dropping
agree
the
that
Giants
he
to
didn't
0-2.
he didn't get offside,
Clearly,
but
however, Lawrence
we
wasn't
always on the other
offside
side of them
and
calls.
actually timed his jump perfectly. Being a Giants fan these days is tough enough. Having calls like that cost you a game? Even worse. Jannard Avery penalized for taunting. The Philadelphia Eagles trailed by 21 against the Bucs on Thursday Night Football in Week 6, but they rallied
so far, I
for
saw
15
like
unanswered
two-
points to make it a 6-point
two
game.
calls that
The
was-
defense just needed one
that
more
was cool.
stop,
That was
and
good.
Jalen Hurts
Good
just
calls.
needed one more possession for Philly to complete the upset. But the Eagles' comeback hopes were dashed when Jannard Avery was flagged for taunting Bucs running back Leonard Fournette. The refs may have seen taunting, but what we saw was absolutely nothing. Sure, refs, whatever it takes to affect the game, right? Tampa
Yeah,
Bay would
that's what I'm saying,
retain
to affect
possession
the
the
game.
rest of the way and hold on for the win. Nudging quarterback equals roughing the passer. I can totally understand the NFL's desire to protect quarterbacks. After all, more often than not, they are the faces of the league and many of its franchises.
they get all the
But
money.
roughing the passer penalties like this one from the Browns-Arizona Cardinals Week 6 game are not what anyone wants to see. How in the world does Malik Jackson get penalized for barely touching Kyler Murray?
He didn't even knock him to the turf. Wow.
You're all about keeping quarterbacks
Oh,
safe.
come
Being
on.
a former quarterback.
Yeah, see?
There wasn't much there.
Awfully
They caught a flag
protected.
on that one.
Now, this is actually offside, refs. We already showed you 2 offside penalties on field goal attempts that weren't actually penalties. And if that doesn't bother football
Yeah,
fans enough,
offsides
how
right
about
there.
when officials miss the most obvious of offside penalties? The Chicago Bears were victims of
That's
this
why they
when
throw flags
hosted
late
the
because they
Packers
want to
in
see
Week
if they
6.
complete the pass
Chicago,
or whatever.
up by
Then
7
they like, oh
late in
yeah,
the first
do the
quarter,
flag.
faced
you
a
know.
3rd and 7 situation.
Right, what's
Green
up with the
Bay
late flags?
clearly jumped offside, but officials missed it as Justin Fields threw a pick to Darnell Savage. Unnecessary roughness equals legal? Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Hunter Renfrow took several hard hits during the team's Week 1 Monday night game against the Baltimore Ravens. The Raiders were so fed up with the refs ignoring the clear-as-day cheap shots their wideout was taking that they actually filed a complaint against the league. Out of
And then
all the cheap
sometimes the
shots of
leagues
Renfrow,
come back
however,
after the game and
this
say, yeah,
one
we
might
made a
take the
mistake.
cake. Did officials forget
The
that
game
you're
is over.
allowed to penalize someone for
You know what I'm saying?
unnecessary
You made a mistake.
roughness?
I mean, you should have
Chase
add.
Young,
You should
roughing
add
the passer times 2.
6 points.
Washington star
for
pass
making a
rusher
mistake.
Chase
And then
Young
we can
is
say,
gonna
okay,
be
boom,
one of
boom,
the
boom.
game's most exciting
The other
stars
team
for
won.
many years
Y'all
to
making
come.
mistakes like that.
But being
Y'all
a
know y'all made
top-notch
the
pass
mistake in the
rusher and
game.
all, Young will
Y'all let it go.
unfortunately be the victim of many horrible officiating calls.
Oh yeah, I remember
throughout
this
his
one.
career.
This one with the Falcons.
For instance, when he was penalized here for
Oh, okay.
roughing the passer on Daniel Jones. 2 weeks later, Young was also penalized for a perfectly clean hit.
That one,
on
I think
Matt
because
Ryan.
they think he
I'm
leaned
sure
in.
there are more of these horrendous calls to follow.
Yeah, this the one. I knew they were gonna bring that up.
Which do you think is the worst officiating call of the
He's
2021
down.
NFL
His knee
season
is
so
down.
far? Join us in the comment section below.
But we won
if you
that
like
game
this
anyway.
video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey,
All right,
we
y'all.
appreciate it. If
That's
this is your
it.
first time coming around
But
to
yeah,
TPS, though,
a lot of those
subscribing is
calls.
a
Only
great
2 out of
idea,
those.
because we put out videos
I feel
like
that
this
it was-
every single
they
day.
were,
But as
good
always,
calls.
thanks
For
for
the rest
watching,
of 'em,
and we'll see you guys next time.
you know what I'm saying? Even if it was against my team, you know, it's like with Chase Young when we tackled the giant quarterback, Daniel Jones. If you leaning your body in, they're gonna call that. So yeah, so that was a good call. So I would say 3 out of the 20. So that was a good call. But the other one, man, come on, man. That's what I'm saying. See, you can, and then like I said, they at the end of the game, maybe a day or 2 later, they come out and say, yeah, we made a mistake on this call, blah, 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 blah. You know, you got people in New York making calls, but they only like doing touchdowns. They should be like, okay, that wasn't a penalty or whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, y'all making a mistake over there. So who in New York saying that's a touchdown, that's not a touchdown, whatever they, you know, but with the taunting, who came up with the taunting? It must be the commissioner or something. I don't know. Came up with the taunting. And see, if you crying about being taunted, then you're a punk. You know, that's part of the game. You know, that's part of the swagger of the game. You know, you can be like, You know, it ain't like you like getting in somebody's face like, nanny, boo, boo. You know, I mean, even if you did that, these grown men, you can't handle somebody like, you know, getting up in your face because you're losing. You're gonna cry at home. You're gonna cry in the car. You know, so I don't know. But that taunting thing, man, that's some BS. You know, and I kind of understand with the, you know, taking your helmet off because they want everybody to be the same. They don't want nobody showing their face because they, you know, all that, because it's making it all about yourself. Even though, you know, some people they already know their face, you know, but you know, taking your helmets off on the field, you know, that's you know, I can kind of understand why they want to do that, but that's some BS too. But anyway, all right, y'all, let me know in the comment section what y'all think about these calls, about these refs. Do y'all agree with me? Do y'all disagree with me on some things? Just let me know in the comment section. All right, y'all, that's it for this video. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, everything, so you can keep supporting the channel, keep supporting me. I'm trying to get up to 3,000 followers and more, you know what I'm saying? So, all right, y'all, that's it. I'm ChrisMagma.